You know, 57 years is a long time. Seems like a long time ago I started. I was given this book, and the man said, if you do exactly what I tell you and do what you think this book says, everything in your life will change. And everything has changed. It's changed like night and day. And I'll make reference to it as we go along here. But over the next hour or so, I want to show you how to earn more money. That is one pressing need that almost everybody has, and school doesn't teach us. You can go all the way through school. You can go through graduate school. They do not show you how to earn money. They show you how to keep it, how to count it, how to store it, how to invest it. But they don't show you how to earn it. I'm going to show you how to earn it. I'm going to show you how to enjoy more freedom. You see, that is our birthright. And begin to live the life that you're designed to live. This is such great information. Now, in the small amount of time we have today, my goal is to dramatically improve your life and make a big impact in the following ways. And it's all done through information. It's powerful information. Number one, how to generate confidence where there's insecurity. My goodness, that was the biggest win for me. How to create clarity where there's confusion. We get thinking about our life. You know, it can become very confused. You think about the mind and everything that's going on in your world. And last but not least, how to unlock the potential and live the life that you really want to live. We know that there's phenomenal potential. It's been pointed out way back in the 50s. There's about 11 million kilowatt hours per pound potential energy locked up in the atoms of our body, and the electrons in the atoms of our body. We're walking dynamos. Science, theology will tell you that our potential is infinite. And yet, when we look at results, you'd have a hard time really buying into that. Yet, if nothing else, I'm here to change the way you think about money and help you earn a lot of it so you can enjoy freedom. Now, seriously, that's really what we're into. I want to suggest you open up your mind, put your phone on hold, distractions away, just as Mikey asked, and trust me, and then follow the instructions that I'm going to lay out during the seminar. Follow them to the letter. She referred to Phil Goldfine, who's a good friend of mine. Phil phoned me, and he asked if he could come and meet with me. Somebody gave him my phone number. And so I said, sure. And I sat down with him, and I asked him, I said, what do you really want? He said, I want to earn more money. I said, well, I can show you how to earn more money. I said, what else do you want? He said, I want to win an Oscar. I said, I could show you how to do that. And he went on, and you know, he looked at me rather strange. How are you going to tell me to do all these things? Because everything's done by law, and when you understand the law and you understand the mind, it all falls into place. Talk to Phil Goldfine today, he'll tell you that's exactly the way it works. So let's make a deal. I'm going to give you my A-level best for the next hour, and I'm asking you that you give me your A-level best in return. Now think, do we have a deal? I'm going to tell you, if we do, you're away to the races. Now, how did today come to be? I was a 26-year-old high school dropout that was going downhill, and I was picking up speed. And I'm not exaggerating. I was earning $4,000 a year, and I owed $6,000 when I was given this book. So the idea of creating financial freedom wasn't even in the realm of thought for me. I mean, I didn't even know what financial freedom was. My idea was try and pay the person that's calling me next. Now, fortunately, I did meet someone who could see how miserable I was, and he knew a better way. And this was my introduction to thinking. He gave me this book, and I'm going to tell you, everything in my life began to change. But he said, you've got to do exactly what I tell you. Now, he said, I'm not going to tell you how to eat, what time to go to bed. But he said, you're going to have to do things different, Bob. And he said, if you do, everything will change. Now, you see, he was happy, healthy, and wealthy. I was unhappy, sick, and broke. He said, why don't you try my way? Your way's not working. Well, my life changed so quickly, so dramatically, and so can yours. And I'm going to show you how, okay? Now, before we get started, I want you to know that this is some of the very same information I teach to my one-on-one coaching clients who pay upwards of 6 figures. Some in the 1% club, they pay $60,000 for 6 days. And it's well worth it, and every one of them are very happy. For the first time, I'm teaching this in a brand new format that can move everything in a more positive direction for you. We have laid out a phenomenal program here. You'll see. okay? Now, on this webinar, I'm going to teach you what the law of attraction really is. You know, after The Secret came out, everybody was writing something on the law of attraction. A lot of people really didn't understand it. You're going to find the law of attraction is a secondary law. It's not even a primary law. And if you don't understand the primary one, then your odds of making the law of attraction work consciously and deliberately in your favor are slim. The second one is the one thing that's dictating reality. The one thing that's dictating our reality. And the third one is the magic word. I'm going to give you a word that has absolute magic to it, really, okay? So before we dive in, here's some quick questions. Why are so many educated people broke? They go all the way through school, they've got degrees coming right off the end of their business card, but they're not making it. Why don't more people know how to earn money? Think about that for a moment. Why don't they know how? You say, well, everybody knows how to earn money. There's hardly anyone that's got what they need. Number 3, what's the number one thing that stops most people? Now, they're good questions, and I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to answer those questions for you. So I want you to really listen carefully, okay? Now, here's my challenge. I've spent tens of thousands of hours teaching this material, taught it all over the world. I'm beginning my 57th year immersed daily study of this information, and I do study it every day, and anyone that knows me will tell you that. I do study every day. So how do I distill all those hours and years of that experience and knowledge into something you can immediately put into action and improve your results? It's a good question. It's my challenge, but I'm going to meet it, okay? Here's how I'm going to do it. I've devoted my entire life to this. This is all I do. It's the only thing I want to do. I love doing it. And I realize that's not everyone's calling. It isn't. It just isn't for everyone, but it is for me. See, I think we're all hardwired to do something, and I think I'm doing what I should be doing. I've been doing it for a long time, and I love it every day. You see, I've spent the last 56 years studying, implementing, teaching concepts around how to create any level of success you desire. See, we've got a marvelous mind. Everything operates by law, and we can do it, and I'm going to show you how. And I'm going to transfer that knowledge to you, simplified, condensed, and proven, so that you don't have to spend the same amount of time or hours I have. You can create your success and the freedom, and you can do it right now. Now, on this webinar, I'm going to debunk all the myths and misconceptions around the law of attraction and the false idea that you can hope and wish your way to success. It is not going to happen. There's been a lot of people trying it for many centuries, and it hasn't worked. Okay? Now, on this seminar, I'm going to just get rid of all those myths. On this webinar, I'm going to reveal to you the cause of your results. Now think, if you want to change your results, you've got to go to the cause. I'm going to reveal the cause in all areas of your life, both good and bad. You're going to understand how these things are happening, and it can be understood. Make no mistake about it. On this webinar, I'm going to explain how to use higher faculty so that you already possess, that gives you the ability to turn any negative situation into a positive. We've got such phenomenal mental tools, and we've never been taught how to use them. On this webinar, I'm going to give you a daily must-do action step that serves as your success insurance policy, and it really does. You follow this, and I'm going to tell you, things just keep getting better. Now let's take a look at this law of attraction. Pretty interesting concept, isn't it? The law of attraction is always working. Just like the law of gravity, it never takes a break. It's a powerful tool when you understand and use it correctly. So the question is, well, how does it work? Well, let's take a look. I think you can learn it. Everything is energy, and energy is constantly moving in an orderly manner. We actually live in an ocean of motion. Everything moves by law. Everything, just look around you. Everything you see is energy. And it's moving. It may appear to be still. The wall that you're looking at is moving. Go take a look at it through a microscope, and you'll see little particles of energy dancing before you. Okay? When President John Kennedy asked Dr. Wernher von Braun what it would take to build a rocket that would carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth, von Braun replied with 5 words: the will to do it. Do you know that those 5 words will give you anything you want? Took us to the moon, and it'll give you anything you want. Give you the lifestyle you want, is the will to do it. Okay? Now, von Braun went on to explain that the laws of the universe are so precise that we have no difficulty building a rocket that'll carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth. And the good doctor also pointed out that we can, in fact, time the landing with the precision of a fraction of a second. That's not done by accident, it's done because we understand the laws. Okay? The law of attraction is a secondary law. Now, I've already mentioned that. The primary law is one you want to look at. It's the law of vibration. Now, that law decrees that everything moves, nothing rests. We literally live in an ocean of motion. I don't care what it is you're looking at. Concrete that you may be walking on, it is moving. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Get a powerful microscope and you'll see it. Okay? You're a mass of energy in a very high speed of vibration. So let's stop and talk about you for a minute and take a look. That would be what's called Kirlian photography. Semyon Kirlian, back in the 30s, around 1934, he perfected a form of photography where you can actually photograph mass and the energy coming from it can be photographed. Now, depending upon the vibration of the person, the energy is stronger, weaker, or it'll change colors. To consciously and deliberately have the law of attraction improving the quality of your life, you must understand how this law works. It's an essential thing. You're a mass of energy and a high speed of vibration, and you function on frequencies. You do. Everything does, but you do. Okay? You can and will attract whatever is on the same frequency as yourself. It's a matter of choice, and it's your choice. Now think about that for a moment. You're going to attract according to the frequency you're on. If you're on a negative vibration, you're going to attract negative. It's just going to happen. A frequency is really a level of vibration. That's really what it is. And what we've got to understand, there's an infinite number of frequencies. Okay? Now, all these frequencies, infinite number of them, every frequency is connected to the one above and the one below. Now you might wonder, what the heck has this got to do with my income? I'm going to tell you something. It's got everything to do with your income. Everything. You want to know where the money is? I'm going to show you where the money is. It's on a specific frequency. You operate in a low frequency, low income. High frequency, high income. Everything is connected. Look it. Each frequency is hooked up to the one above and the one below. Now, if you follow that through with your thinking, you're going to realize that everything in this whole universe is connected. You say, well, I have a hard time believing that. You may look at a chair and you say, it's not connected to the desk. Everything is connected. Everything's energy. Everything vibrates. Just stay with me, okay? Let these lines represent levels of vibration, okay? Level of vibrations are often referred to as frequencies, okay? We think on frequencies. So let these thoughts represent your thoughts, and that's on the frequency you're working. It's the thoughts you're thinking that's going to determine the results you get. Our thinking ultimately produces our results. It's the way it works. Most people are thinking of what they don't want. They're not thinking of what they do want. It's rather sad. Now, your mind is operating on this frequency down here. Your goals are way up here. Think about that for a moment. The mind and thoughts must be focused on the same frequency as the goal. Look where it is. It's up there. You're way down low. You got to get your mind onto the higher frequency. You just have to. So we look at our results, and then we look at our goal, and you've got to change your thinking. What do you have to do? You have to make a decision. You flip your mind onto a higher frequency. You've got to be thinking the frequency of what you want. Goethe, the German philosopher, said that. He said, before you can do something, you first must be something. William James, way back 1900, act like the person you want to become. Well, you got to think that way. So you get your thoughts up there. You got to make a decision, okay? Now, here's the man that really altered Napoleon Hill's life. Any idea, he said, that's held in the mind, that is emphasized, that's either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. Now, that's just the way it works. And he's right. You hold an idea in your mind, it must manifest in form. That is a law. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy. You build the idea in your mind, that idea must move into form. It's an absolute law, it's the way it works. So we've got to make a committed decision. And when we make a committed decision, we flip ourselves onto a higher frequency. Any idea held in the mind that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. This is so good. It's such good stuff. You see, we pull thoughts together into ideas, and the ideas move into things or results. Now that's where we're going. You've got to build the idea, but to build the idea, you've got to get the thinking right. Now, isn't it ironic? You're someone who's always running late. Doesn't matter, if you set your alarm for 30 minutes early or leave the house an hour late. If you are mentally programmed to run late, you will, without fail, attract traffic, a spilled cup of coffee, a forgotten computer, or some ironic circumstance that'll deliver the same result late. It's a late paradigm that you're in harmony with. You say, well, I don't really believe that. You don't have to. See, the beautiful thing is we do have a choice. We don't have to believe anything. But what you want to do is understand this. Isn't it ironic? You're someone who never gets what you want or deserve. It doesn't matter how far above or beyond you go, how much extra work you take on or how brightly you shine. If you're mentally programmed to feel that you're not good enough, you will without fail attract your coworker getting all the credit, you getting passed over for the big promotion, or not getting the pay increase that you deserve. They'll deliver the same feeling. You're not good enough. Paradigm is in harmony. See, the paradigm controls everything. It's something inside. It's a program in our mind, and it controls everything in our life. Let's look at this. Isn't it ironic that someone who's always tight on cash, it doesn't matter how much you visualize, how many jobs you have, or how many hours you work. If you're mentally programmed with lack and limitation, you will, without fail, attract an extra bill to pay. A spontaneous and expensive car repair, a traffic ticket that you're going to, deliver the result that you're just not enough money. The paradigm, it's always messing up. See, you'll hear people say, I just get this paid and another one pops up. We're attracting it. We're programmed for it. So let's take a look at paradigms. What is a paradigm? Most people really don't understand them. Here's the thing. My life changed so quickly, so dramatically, and so can yours. You see, a paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior, and almost all of our behavior is habitual. Now think about that. A paradigm is a mental program. It's in our subjective mind that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And almost all of our behavior is habitual. What is a paradigm? Paradigm is a multitude of habits passed down from generation to generation. Why do you think you look so much like your relatives? That's called genetic conditioning. Paradigms control the way you view yourself, the world, and opportunity. Paradigms control how you approach change, challenges. Paradigms operate exactly the same as the autopilot on a plane. Paradigm is that part of your mind that determines how you behave. Now, if you change your behavior a little bit, the results change dramatically. You know that, okay? Mind is the greatest power in all of creation. Dr. J.B. Ryan said that from Duke many years ago. Very wise man. It's the greatest power in all of creation. So let's look at the mind and paradigms. Now, in 1934, Truman Fleet lived down in Texas. He was very much in the healing arts. And he stated that the mind's an activity. It's not a thing. No one's ever seen the mind or ever will see the mind. In order to gain clarity and eliminate confusion, he says, I'm going to create an image that we can work with. You see, if the mind is where all the problems start, and we don't even know what it looks like, how do we go about changing it? Do you know there's been psychiatrists, psychologists, behavioral scientists working for years, people spending fortunes trying to get the mind straightened out. They don't know what it looks like. They don't know how to straighten it out. They try all kinds of little games. I'm going to show you how it works. Truman Fleet said, let that represent the mind and let that represent the body. Now he said, I believe this is the most valuable idea I've ever learned. So what we want to do is look at the mind and paradigms. Let's take a real close look at your mind and your paradigm. Now this is the point where I really want you to pay attention. This drawing, when I learned this, everything fell into place. Now I had been studying for 10 years. I hadn't done very well. I had earned over $1 million a year, but I could not explain what changed, how I changed. I couldn't tell anybody. In fact, I was living in England at the time. I'd moved, I'd opened a business there, and I was asking myself, how did this happen? No formal education, 2 months high school, no business experience. And I owned a company that operated in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, London, England. I was earning all this money, and I started to think, what happened? Why did I change? And I couldn't answer it. I just couldn't. I'd been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I wasn't very smart, and I was earning a lot of money. I was also raised to believe if you don't go to school, you won't get a good job. I didn't have a good job. I owned the whole company. So I started to question everything. And then I started to wonder, how did this happen? And I started to study. It took me 10.5 years. And it was when this drawing was put in front of me that all the information just seemed to come together. It was almost like I'd been working trying to put a jigsaw puzzle together, and I didn't have the lid for the box that had the picture. I didn't know what I was working toward. And I saw that drawing like that. I saw the picture. So let's look here for a moment. That's the conscious mind, the subconscious, and the body. Now the conscious and subconscious operate quite different. This can change your life very, very dramatically. The conscious mind has the ability to originate, choose, accept, or reject. That's a thinking mind. And you know, we've got awesome powers in that part of our mind that we don't even know anything about. Now the subconscious is the emotional mind. It has no ability to reject anything. It is totally deductive. It can only accept, and it's amoral. It'll accept, it's like the earth. You can plant anything you want. I love the way Earl Nightingale put it on The Strangest Secret. He said, you can plant corn, not a 1/16 of an inch away. You can plant nightshade, a deadly poison. One will grow with just as great an abundance as the other. You can plant negative concepts in your subjective mind. They will grow just as easy and as abundant as the positive ones. So let's keep looking here. You can choose what you think. It's your choice. You can accept or reject information. You can originate. In other words, you don't have to listen to what's going on TV. You don't have to read the newspaper. If somebody says the economy is going down tubes, you say, it's not going down the tubes for me. See, in the best economy, there's people that are losing. And in the worst economy, there's people that are winning. Now think, you have the ability to choose in your conscious faculties. Your subconscious doesn't have that. It has no ability to reject. And get this, it cannot differentiate between what's real and what's imagined. So go back and stop and think of what Carnegie said. Any idea that's planted in the mind, any idea that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. I think he was fairly well qualified to say that. He started out as a poor little boy that immigrated to America. And by 1903, he was the wealthiest man in the world. That was the idea he planted. Whatever you plant in your subjective mind, the mind will accept and start to grow. See? So the conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject. The subconscious does not. Now, when you were an infant, this is how you arrived. Whatever was going on around went right into your subconscious mind. That's why you learn the language you learn. That's why you like the food you like. You're a product of your environment. Do you know that almost all welfare recipients are third and fourth generation welfare recipients? It's rather sad because they just breed one after another. Why? Nobody's thinking. They're just totally subjective to their environment. Now look at paradigms are nothing but those ideas planted over and over and over. And when you're an infant, that's the way it worked. The paradigm is the program that controls you, okay? Then you go to school, all right? Now, school gave you valuable knowledge. However, school never taught us how to alter our old paradigms. They just didn't show us. Consequently, we frequently do not do what we already know how to do. We have superior knowledge, inferior results. That causes confusion and frustration. Now, let's use the model here and see how this works. School loads up the information in the conscious mind. And they want to know if you've got it, so they give you tests periodically throughout the year. And if you get good grades, they'll pass you and they'll say you have learned. Well, let's look at this. The results don't match the knowledge people have. You'll find people that are really brilliant, yet they're unhappy, sick, and broke. How come? They're not doing what they know how to do. You see, what we haven't been taught is the paradigm that was programmed in at birth, genetically first, and then environmentally. That program controls our behavior. The knowledge that we've got in our conscious mind doesn't control our behavior, and it doesn't reflect in our results. If you want to change the results, you've got to change the paradigm. Buckminster Fuller said, you never change things by fighting existing reality. To change things, you build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Now, that's what this program will do for you. If you want to build a new model, and you will do this, and you'll get this program and use it as we suggest, I guarantee you things will change. Now, this isn't just a theory that I've got. I've been at this for years. I've worked all over the world with this. Works everywhere. You want to get new results? New paradigm. New paradigm. You see, on the conscious mind, you have all this knowledge and you know. And if I asked you, do you believe you could earn more money? You'd probably say yes. And I'd say, well, why aren't you doing it? See, it's the conscious mind believes it, the subconscious doesn't. Subconscious is in conflict with all that knowledge. When paradigms stay in control, nothing changes. When the paradigm stays in control, nothing changes. That is, you've got to understand that. So just take a look. Most people, they get the same results year after year. They're in the same position now as they were a year ago. All the money in the world is available. They can go out and earn as much as they want. But they don't know that. Okay? Now, I promise, we're going to show you how to build a new paradigm. And when you do that, the whole life changes automatic. So come with me for a minute and let's think of how we live and act on a daily basis and act without really thinking, okay? This is where the magic word comes in. Earl Nightingale named this the magic word. It's so good. And the magic word is attitude. Now here's the question. I want to recommend you go and ask a few people, what is attitude? Well, they'll say, and they're not quite sure. I want to show you what it is. Attitude, great attitude. Let's think about it. A great attitude. Let's take a look at a great cake, okay? Okay? There's no mention, and probably little thought of the ingredients that go into creating a great attitude, you know, but it's our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Now let's look. Even although attitude is the composite of all three, thoughts, feelings, and actions, there's a vast majority of our population who do not understand how attitudes are formed or how they're changed. They just don't know. Now there's three ingredients that create attitude. They're not always in harmony. They're not always in harmony. In fact, they're frequently not in harmony. Now, a simple changing your thinking will not necessarily do it. That just doesn't do it. You got to go further than that, okay? Attitude, we say, is thoughts, feelings, action. When an individual has an attitude problem, the lack of harmony in these three areas is the cause of the problem. That's what it is. Now think. Earl Nightingale was right. He said attitude is truly the magic word. Attitude, to a large degree, controls how much money you're going to earn. It controls your relationships, and to a much greater degree than you might imagine, it controls your health. See, if the body's breaking down, it's in the wrong vibration. The attitude controls that. So let's take a peek at how these three parts of the magic word should come together to form a winning attitude. There's this mind, attitude, and paradigm, okay? So let's look. As you develop a better understanding of these three words, along with the illustration, you'll be able to experience magic in all areas of your life. On a conscious mind, we entertain thoughts. And as you get emotionally involved with those thoughts, it sets up what we call feelings. And those feelings are always expressed through the physical body in action. So there you have the composite, the three of them all put together. It's called attitude. Now, do you see, if there's a conflict there, you can be thinking positive and feeling negative. You can be very emotionally involved with a negative idea. What are your actions going to be like? They're going to be chaotic. Okay? Let's take a look here. On a conscious mind, we communicate thoughts, feelings, and actions to other persons. Sometimes our energy is clear and flowing freely, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes energy is not so clear and freely flowing, and it can get quite heated. And believe me, what you're sending out is coming back, and they're going to feel it. So we want to learn how to take control here. Now, if you wanted to bake a cake, as I was talking a minute ago, you'd want some understanding of what ingredients you'd require. You wouldn't just say, well, give me some flour. You don't eat a piece of cake and say, hey, great flour. You say it's great cake. Well, the cake is a composite. You know, it's a composite of a number of different ingredients. It's highly unlikely you'd comment, great spice, or yum, light flour. You don't do that. You just say great cake, okay? A cake is the composite of a number of different ingredients that are brought together, are in harmony, and harmony is important. For example, you wouldn't throw salt in instead of sugar. Now, all of these ingredients are identical. It wouldn't give you the result that you want, would it? They look the same, but they're not the same, okay? You're always aware for different cakes you would require different ingredients. However, the creation of any cake would require to follow a similar process, okay? Well, on this webinar, we've revealed the secret behind the law of attraction. You do not attract what you want, but you do attract what you are. You do attract whatever is on the frequency that you're mentally operating on, okay? On this webinar, we discussed that hoping and wishing has no power. It hasn't got any power. On this seminar, we learned from a paradigm to a large degree controls our results, okay? We learned what a paradigm is and how to change it. On this webinar, we discovered that changing the paradigm is the only way to adjust your vibration in order to be in harmony with that which you desire. And on this seminar, we covered the one thing that controls the quality of your life, and it's your attitude. Now, we touched on it, hit on it. How if you studied into that in depth? What if you studied this every day? If we give you the material, all the illustrations, and you got into it every day, do you know in a matter of a month, 6 weeks, you'd be a totally different person. Everything would change. On this seminar, you found out there's good in everything to be experienced if you're willing to look for it. It's a law. It's the opposite side of the bad, okay? Now look at. Wouldn't you agree that having an understanding of how the law of attraction actually works has the potential to change everything? That identifying changing your non-productive paradigm is something that your success depends on. It really does. That seeing what's good and approaching each aspect of your life with a positive attitude will completely alter the results that you're currently getting for the better. That integrating this information into your life on a consistent basis will help you operate or generate confidence and create clarity and unlock your true potential. You see, when all this started, I got this and I started to study this. And then I was led into Earl Nightingale's condensed narration of Think and Grow Rich. That led me then to Chicago. It was in the early 60s. I flew down and I bought it all on recordings. On records, just plastic records. And I would listen to that day and night. In fact, I drove around listening to it on a battery-operated record player. That's what makes it work. When presented with a better and an easier way, do you keep doing what you're doing or do you change your approach? You see, for many years, I just kept doing what I was doing. I didn't use the better way. It was like I was brain dead or something. What do you do? If you're presented a better way, okay? Now, you can do this. I have absolute confidence that you could take everything that we've covered here today and on your own go out and put it into action and get the results that you previously thought weren't possible. I think you could do that just with what you've got today. And I'm certain that with the information we've covered on this webinar today, if you left your own resources, time and effort, that you could make a go at your goals in a way most people would never be able to. I think you can do that, just what you've learned if you really paid close attention. And if that were your only option, it would be worthy of your pursuit, okay? But let's think. But what if there's another option? An option that allowed us to go at this together. A chance to go deeper than you can in this measly hour that we've got, in this webinar, if we could go deeper. What if I played an active role in your results? I was to help you. What if I took responsibility, took responsibility in your success and had an obligation to your outcome? How would that make things different? Do you think that in that situation I could empower you, with any and all the resources at my disposal, to stack the deck in your favor to make success all but inevitable? Well, I'm going to tell you, I can. If I had shortcuts and if I had a support system, additional insights that go even deeper and more thorough in getting the results you want, desire, and deserve, if I had such an option for you, would you love to hear more about it and what it could do for you? Now think, if I'm going to work with you, I've been working at this a long time. I've gone into companies, watched their sales go up by literally hundreds of millions of dollars, and that is not an exaggeration. I work with all of Prudential, all of Metropolitan Life, over in Asia and Great Eastern. I mean, I have worked with some of the biggest companies in the world, and I've watched the people change when they get this information. That's why it's with great pleasure that I introduce you to this new Lead the Field coaching program. This is a phenomenal program. That is Sandy Gallagher, my business partner. She is a financial genius. She was a securities lawyer that fell in love with this material, and she became the partner in my company. She does a phenomenal job. She does something on visualization that'll just about blow your mind. But we can make your income match your dreams, the two of us. We'll work with you on this program. We can do that.